So we are live.
Wonderful.
So hi everyone. Welcome to Symbl.ai session. I hope you are doing great. So we will be discussing about visualization in the first iteration and welcome. And before proceeding, we would love to know from which part of the world you are joining in, maybe in the chat section. Hi Sai Madhav. Hi Tibogo.
Hey, Sai. Hey, Tebogo.
Hi Perijoy. So he's from India.
Hey, Pedishoy.
Hi Mishak. Hi Kritiraj.
Hey, Meshak. Hey, Kirtiraj.
So let's begin the session. I'm Akanksha Basim. I'm a community advocate and Symbl.ai. With me, we have Eric. He's a lead developer advocate at Symbl.ai. So today we will be discussing about what Symbl. We will be also doing cool demos, sentiment analysis using emojis as well. So let's get started. The first part is how to integrate to disrupt hackathon. You can those who are new to Symbl, we have just launched a hackathon right now and it's live, and we'll be sharing the link in the chat section as well. So it focuses on inspiring developers to create new experiences around conversation by integrating Symbl.ai developers platform for conversation analytics with third-party SaaS. And in the second part, in regards to our previous session where we did Symbl one-on-one, where you merely connected one part of the conversation to another experience. So in this session, we will be posted with the challenge of visualizing some part of the conversation. Apart from contextual insights, Symbl.ai also has some sentiments. So Eric will also show you some demo of how to analyze those emojis. So I'm sharing the link for getting started the platform. And yeah. Sign up using this promo and you will get automatically 3000 minutes. I can show you how it works. So just click on platform.symbl.ai, sign up, the link which I shared, and you will get an app ID and app secret on the front page of the website. I'm also linking the page to the Symbl.ai collection as well. 1 second. So here's the link to the collection. Just give a thumbs up if you are following along the way. Hi, Minihal. Okay. I hope everyone have signed up now. So you have a Postman collection right in front of you, and on the left side you can see authentication. Just click on authentication and click on generate token. So either you can paste your app ID and app secret over here, but we want to put it like globally so that you don't need to add app ID and app secret again. So I will set the environment variables over here. You must be seeing an eye icon. So click on that eye icon on the right hand side and you must see like a global. So you can capture your app ID from the website and just click on the Postman collection and paste your app ID and app secret over here and then click on save. So you will have all the app ID and app secret and ready. And do add the same name as you mentioned in the environment variables. And now click on send. So after clicking, you will get an access token and status 200. Okay, it means you are doing good. And it also adds like an expiry date that it in 80,000 seconds or 86,000 seconds it gets expired. So you need to generate maybe after 2 days a next token for going through it. I hope everyone is following. Yes. So we have Kritiraj, great. We have that's following along the process. Awesome. Eric, I think my screen is not capturing.
Uh-oh. Let's see if we can get it up.
Yeah.
I can.
Now, is it visible now? I'm trying to comment on the laptop.
Yeah, wonderful.
Cool. So as I was mentioning, just set the environment variables to global and then just write app ID and app secret and then click on send. After clicking on send, you will get an access token. So here you go. So now let's do a hello world of the program. Now click on async API and under short transcript, just click on it. So you can write your message over here. Let's write. Hello world. And you can also write your name and user ID to which the Hello World insights will be sent. I'm mentioning my email over here and the name to whom we are addressing. Now click on send. So we get a 201. Status, it's created. We also get a conversation ID as well as a job ID. So just grab the conversation ID. I'm copying it and I will require for creating the insights. Now click on conversation APIs. Under the conversation APIs, click on get conversation. Now paste your conversation ID over here and click on send. Yeah. So now you must have got an email and you might have got a Hello World program or maybe whatever you have written in the context over there. So this is a brief overview of how things look. Yeah. What do Symbl.ai actually does? So Symbl.ai is a conversation intelligence platform for automated speech recognition on multi-text channel like text, voice, or video calls. So Symbl.ai suite of APIs actually enables developers to track the highest point of artificial intelligence in calls with fully programmable endpoints for triggering application-specific logic to drive results. So conversational AI of Symbl.ai covers like human to human conversations. And in layman terms, it basically transcribe and extract contextual insights and intelligence from any human to human conversation. For example, we have so many meetings daily, and it's impossible to keep a note of all the meeting insights, topics, action items, follow ups. And if someone is on leave and we want to send him the whole recording, a 2 hour recording, it won't help him and it would cause a lot of time waste. So maybe sending him actionable items that are generated from Symbl. It analyzes whole text and video and bring insights. And the best part is that you don't need to gather data, label it, or analyze it. You just need not focus on building the right end user experience. We can save you here. You could simply drop an API into your conversation flow to get actionable items. So you don't need to train data with any upfront training or wake words. So now we will be covering the demo of WebSocket. I pass it on to Eric.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Akansha, for that brief introduction into Symbl.ai's conversation intelligence platform for developers. Let's go ahead and let's take it to the next step. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Akansha gave us an overview of what Symbl.ai is. She showed us how to get started with Symbl.ai. She gave us an overview of a few of the APIs. She hit a couple of API endpoints. She talked about the conversation API. Now I'm going to go ahead and take you over to the streaming API. Before I do, I want to tell you again what Symbl.ai is. Symbl.ai is a conversation intelligence platform for developers that enables apps to understand natural human-to-human conversations across channels, such as those that arise through voice, video, or messaging in real time or asynchronously. We have APIs and we have extensions. We also have SDKs and we have adapters. These work with AWS, Twilio, Agora, meaning that our platform is domain agnostic. To get the AI up and running in your application, there's no upfront training. And what you see here in terms of our platform is a schematic roadmap for ideation. You may be wondering what you can do with Symbl.ai. We're going to talk about what you can do with Symbl.ai after we do a couple of demos with the WebSocket. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to move from getting started with Symbl.ai that the Contra covered. We're going to go into the streaming API, and then we're going to go into the streaming API with sentiments. So let me go ahead and transition over to the documentation on our WebSocket. The link to this page in the documentation, Akanksha will drop in the chat so that you can follow along. So our streaming API is built on a WebSocket. A WebSocket is a specific protocol for streaming real-time audio, video, or messaging. And with the Symbl.ai WebSocket or our streaming API, you can enable real-time conversational analysis on voice, video, or chat. To get started with the WebSocket, there's just a couple of things to review. We're not going to go into detail on these things, but if you wanted to follow up with us on any one of these things that we, for which we give a brief overview, please reach out to us in Slack. We're going to talk about the WebSocket listeners. We're also going to talk about the audio stream, and we're going to talk about the conversation ID. To get started with the WebSocket, there's just basically 3 steps that you have to take inside of your code editor. You create a constant for access token. You could copy paste this line of code. And then another one is the WebSocket endpoint itself. And you load those 2 other constants into the endpoint so that you can get the endpoint up and streaming. The second step is to create the WebSocket. Third step is to configure the listeners. The most important listener is the onMessage method. And the onMessage method that we have set up here in the code sample has multiple logs. These are logs for conversation ID, for message response, topic response, insight response, and other logs. Depending upon your use case, your message response will contain a property called isFinal. And depending upon whether or not the value for that is set to true or false, your particular use case, whether it be live captioning or transcripts, will depend in part on how you view that property for the objective that you're trying to obtain with your use case. The next step is to start the WebSocket connection. Then we create an audio stream through the browser by capturing access to the microphone. And then we handle the stream through this code snippet here. And then if you want, you can run this code to stop it. So essentially, the way that the WebSocket works is that it starts to stream a conversation. It creates a conversation ID. And then with that conversation ID, you can use that to hit other API endpoints like the message API in the conversation API suite of APIs. The message API will give us access to the sentiments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the full code sample, and then I'm going to go over to this browser over here. I'm going to do Option Command J, and that will go ahead and open up the console. I'm going to drop that in, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to authenticate just like Akanksha did with my app ID and my app secret to get a token. Great, and then I'm going to hit send to get the API key. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in the area where there is a constant for access token. I'm going to paste it there, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press enter. That will ask or prompt the browser to gain access to the microphone. And then now I can start streaming. As you can see here, a lot of the logs that I showed you earlier are starting to print out messages. So that's how you get up and running with the WebSocket. So before I transition over to sentiment analysis, then the thing that I want to do is I want to show you the Conversation API's message API. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my conversation ID. And I'm going to go back over to Postman. I'm going to go over into the Conversation APIs. And I'm going to click on the Get Transcript or Messages. And I'm going to drop the conversation ID into the API endpoint. And then I'm going to go ahead and go click here to enable sentiment. And I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to see if the API provides me with sentiment analysis. It does. Right here, as you can see from the message object, where we've got a sentiment, and then below that polarity, and then a score, and then also a suggestion for what the algorithms interpret to be neutral. You have some other here, and it takes a bit of time for the API to process that information. Great. So how do we combine the two together? We put together an application to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the link to that application. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pause for a second. I want everyone to raise questions if they have any questions before we move forward to showing you how to take those polarity scores, interpret them, and transform them into a visualization like emojis. Perfect. I'm going to take 30 seconds for people to list their questions. And I'm going to step away from the camera for a second. I'm going to be watching out for your questions in the comment section of the YouTube stream. We're going to return in just a second. Great. It doesn't seem like anyone has any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move over to our demo application. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this really quick by closing out the browser. And then I'm going to go ahead and share this line of code with you really quick. You're going to go ahead and you're going to run this web application on your local host. And I have got the application set up here in my browser. So after you've had a chance to download that code from GitHub, you'll want to navigate to the root directory like I've done here. It looks like this is not visible. So let me go ahead and see if I can expand this. Cool. So that looks a little bit more visible. It actually makes it a little bit harder to read. But this is the line that you'll want to punch in the root directory of the GitHub sample app. Now, before I hit that command, I'm going to go back over to Postman, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that API key again that we had just generated. Right there. I'm going to head back over here to the constant in the code that I showed you earlier. Perfect. And I'm going to press save in my editor. I like to use VS Code. What editor do you guys like to use? My favorite is VS Code. Well, looks like we got a comment. Oh, NeoVeeam. Okay, that's pretty amazing. I've never seen NeoVeeam before. You might have to show it to us sometime. Okay, so I think everyone has had a chance to load their API key into the constant for access token and got a chance to check out that Python command. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up and run it. And it should be running over here. I'm going to press enter. Cool. And do Option Command J so I can see what's going on the left. And then start the call. Fantastic. Should be getting messages. We've got a conversation ID. That's awesome. And let me go ahead and move this back over. Cool. So it's going to take a second for our sentiment analysis demo to interpret the polarity scores into emojis. What I've done over here on the right is I've set up a table of emojis, and the table of emojis has happy, sad, and neutral. Symbl.ai's API endpoint for messages in the Conversation API suite of APIs is providing us access to the polarity scores as I showed you earlier in the Postman application. And as it begins to log these polarity scores, which are really hard to interpret in the human eye, we are transforming them into emojis. The demo is a simple web application demo designed to show you how to transform the data that you receive in real time through real-time conversations with Symbl.ai into things like emojis. The polarity scores are interpreted depending upon their particular weight into happy, into sad, or into neutral. And one of the ways that you could imagine a real-life implementation of a sentiment analysis totals for emojis would be a call center. Let's say, for instance, that you're an admin and you have hundreds of people working on customer service calls. One of the ways that you could lighten the cognitive load of trying to interpret multiple call polarity scores happening in real time would be to put up, for each agent, some kind of visualization where you have an overall evaluation of the sentiment of a call. And you can see, in real time, what the overall sentiment of all these calls is. And let's say, for instance, you don't get a let's say you get in one of these calls a sad face, and you're wondering why. You hop on the call and you try to figure out if there's something you can do to turn the tide in the sentiment analysis of the call to help drive customer satisfaction in a call center demo. There's one of the real life applications. Another real life application could be an asynchronous application where you want to see, generally over a specific period of time, like in a table, sets of observations where you see, particular agents driving customer satisfaction or not driving customer satisfaction in the past. You could do that with Symbl.ai too. We also support asynchronous examples. The sentiments that are being logged right now in real time through the web app demo are not necessarily reflective of a call center call, but they give us a glimpse into how a call center call could be tracked to show or help drive customer satisfaction through sentiment analysis. So you guys have seen how the polarity scores are being interpreted into emojis, and how that is a way of going from a conversation, adding Symbl.ai, and then analyzing the conversation in real time, transforming it into a visualization, and then seeing the conversation. So as opposed to merely like hearing the conversation, we are also seeing the conversation. We're seeing the conversation visualized in the form of happy, sad, and neutral emojis. If you wanted to go into a finer grain of detail, you could probably set up, emojis that are in between happy and sad, and in between sad and neutral, to have a broader spectrum of visualization. You could also do bar graphs. There are many different types of visualizations that you could come up with to transform a conversation into a visual depiction so that you could actually see a conversation. I think right now, since you guys have had a chance to see how the sentiment analysis demo works in interpreting sentiment polarity scores into emojis, I want to open up the floor to questions that people who are witnessing the demo might have about, the WebSocket, about Symbl.ai, about polarity scores, or about sentiment analysis. So it might be interesting also to stop to talk about topics. What's next? If you've got your sentiment analysis demo up and running and you're interpreting the polarity scores into some kind of visualization like emojis, what do you do next? How do you take what you've built to the next level? You could do that by taking a look at the topics that are detected. We showed you in the log from the documentation source earlier that there is a log for detecting topics. If you look down here in the lower right-hand corner, maybe I can make that bigger, you can see a list of topics, API endpoint, API suites, happy, sad, table of emojis, polarity scores, sentiment analysis, human eye, sample web application demo, call center. You could come up with some kind of way to visualize those topics. You could also take a look at some of the insights that are detected. I'm not seeing any of the logs on the insights, but these could be our questions, action items, or follow-ups. Those are things that, as we've shown in previous demos, you can take an action item and you can push it over to some third-party service like Zendesk, or you could push it over to Jira, Trello, Notion. Notion is really popular right now. And you could create an experience through a connection that transform a conversation beyond the scope of merely, speaking from one person to the other. And it can be passively automated. Great. So I think that is pretty much it in terms of our sentiment analysis demo and showing you how to visualize a conversation. It looks like there are no questions in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to return to the slide. I'm going to close this out and I'm going to go back to my terminal and I'm going to press Control-C to stop the Python server. And I'm going to go over here to our slide deck. So as I mentioned earlier, we would get started with Symbl.ai, we would stream, and then we would stream sentiments. We did those things. Let's go ahead and do a recap. What is Symbl.ai? Symbl.ai is a conversation intelligence platform designed for developers to create connections, transformations, or visualizations around conversations. Symbl.ai's conversation intelligence developer platform is a suite of APIs. One of those APIs is the Websocket API. Another is the Async API. Another still is the telephony API. It looks like Harsha Vardhan has just reached out with a request to see the Zoom integration demo in the future. If you DM me in the Slack, Harsha Vardhan, I will go ahead and I will link up with you on a call, and I will show you the Zoom telephony API connection, no problem. Just go ahead and sign up for the Slack. I think Akansha has dropped in the Slack link. So I'm going to look forward to helping you out with that demo in Slack. And then I also talked about the conversation API. Akansha showed you one of the endpoints, the post endpoint for the experience API. And then we use the sentiment analysis API to generate a table of sentiments, and then we used it. We used the data from that table to create a visualization, and we also ran a WebSocket stream. So right here is a list of resources for Symbl.ai. The resource that we have available today, Akansha dropped into the comments section. Go ahead, Akansha.
Yeah, I've dropped in all the links of the Slack channel as well as it's a 2-month long hackathon. We are just 10 days, less than a week left for signing up for the Integrate to Disrupt hackathon. So do sign up now. And before 30th June, just send us your idea. And in the building phase, that's in July, you can work on the idea that you propose to us. And we also have lots of prizes worth $5,000, lots of goodies, and you also got an opportunity to be a part of an ambassador program as well. Yeah.
That sounds great. If you guys haven't had a chance to sign up for Symbl.ai, we dropped in the link to the platform earlier. And if you have any lingering questions after the stream is closed out, please feel free to reach out to us in Slack, and we'll be happy to give you additional demos or to show you what else you can do with Symbl.ai.
Yeah, we also have a question by Neeraj. Can you give some examples related to the API integration? So you could definitely check out the Twilio integration. We also have Zoom integration. Just go on github.com/Symbl.ai. I'm also posting the link of the GitHub as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Akansha. Yeah, Neeraj, go ahead and reach out to us on Slack, and we'll get you set up with more examples related to the API. Cool. I think that's pretty much it. Looks like everyone's had a chance to check out all the different links that we provided. We're really excited to see you taking part in the Integrate to Disrupt Hackathon on Hacker Earth, and we're looking forward to the submissions that you create. We have a lot of great prizes, and we hope that you guys create winning submissions so that you can win those prizes.
Yep, and do follow us on Twitter as well. Our channel is Symbl.dev and Symbl.ai. And do tweet about your experience using the hashtag Symbl.ai. And we also have weekly office hours on Thursday. If you have any doubts, you can just ping us on Slack and we can help you.
Great. Okay. So wonderful. We're going to go ahead and we're going to close out the stream, and we're really thankful that you took part. Remember, we're always available on Slack, so we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.